Today we're in Mobile and we just landed at Sangsters International Airport. We want to travel to the village. So we're traveling to the village and look at the direction that we're heading. Great. And from the village, we're going to try to get to Rose Hall Great House. Just like that. Let's say that we lost something. We left our luggage by accident at the airport. What we would want to do is to retrace our steps to get back to Sangsters International Airport from Rose Hall Great House. So notice that I'm traveling in the opposite direction now, along the same route. It's as if I'm retracing my steps. And voila! We reach back at the airport where we can get our luggage and enjoy Mobile. So, in this video, we are going to be looking at the inverse of a function. And the inverse of a function undoes the function in the sense that it gives us the opposite of the function. So if the function says add, the inverse of it would be to subtract. So what the inverse does, it undoes the original function, or it unties the function. It's as if you're retracing your steps like we did here. So let's take a look at it in mathematical terms. Given that the function h of x is equal to 3x minus 1, determine the inverse, and this is how we write it, h to the negative 1, h inverse of x. It's just a few procedures that we should follow. So I'm going to start off with the original function. H of x is equal to 3x minus 1. The first thing that we'd like to do is to represent our inputs and our outputs as x and y. The input is x and the output is y. So we're going to change the function h of x to y. That's the first step. And keep everything else. The second step, we want to interchange the input and the output. That means we're going to switch x for y and switch y for x. So here it is, we have y. I'm going to change that to x. Here it is that we have 3. We're going to put back that. And I'm changing this x to y and keep everything else. From here it becomes simple. What we need to do is to solve for the value of y by transposition. So we're going to do the opposite of minus 1, which is adding 1. And remember, this is where we are trying to retrace our steps by doing the opposite. So this now becomes x plus 1 is equal to 3y, because negative 1 is cancelled by a positive 1. To get y on its own, we need to get rid of this multiply by 3. And the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So we need to do that to both sides to keep it balanced. So these will cancel. So y will now become x plus 1 all divided by 3. Pretty much that's it. But the last step, remember that we had changed out the y. We had changed out the h of x for y. We need to change it back out now. So we're going to replace y with h inverse this time and x. And we can keep the original function, the thing that we just solved for. So if you wanted to clean it up a little bit, you could put h inverse on the left hand side and put what you just worked out on the right hand side, x plus 1 divided by 3. And pretty much that's it. So what this is telling us is that this function h inverse, which is x plus 1 divided by 3, it undoes this function h of x, which is equal to 3x minus 1. Here's our second example. Determine the inverse of g given that g of x is equal to 2x plus 1 all divided by 3. So I'm going to start with the original function. G of x is equal to 2x plus 1 all divided by 3. Remember what step 1 was? Change g of x to y. That's the first step. Second step, swap x with y and y with x. So y becomes x and x becomes y. Next, solve for y by transposition. So the first thing I'm going to have to get rid of, and if I do my onion rings method, and I love it, I need y by itself. The next closest thing to the y is the 2, so I'm circling that. And then the next closest thing is the plus 1. And then the next closest thing is this divided by 3. And I'm going to work from the largest circle, doing the opposite operations to the smallest one. That's how we're retracing our mathematical steps. So the first thing is this divided by 3. Need the opposite of that. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. So the left hand side becomes 3x. And this multiply by 3 cancels this divide by 3 on the right hand side. The next largest circle says the plus 1. So I'm going to do the opposite of plus 1, which is subtract 1. So I'm going to have to do that from both sides. So I have 3x minus 1 is now equal to 2y. Because this plus x is cancelled by this minus 1. This plus 1 is cancelled by this minus 1. So the next thing I need to get rid of is this multiply by 2. And the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. And I'm going to do it to both sides to keep it balanced. These will cancel. And that will leave us with just y. And y is going to be equal to 3x minus 1 divided by 2. Remember the last step? To switch y with g inverse. See, it was originally g, and these processes will give us the inverse. So now y becomes g inverse of x. And all of that is equal to 3x minus 1 all over 2. And if you want to clean it up, we can switch the sides. So g inverse of x is the same as 3x minus 1 over 2. And that's it.